Aw, come on, man.
It's... It's...
Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! Friday!
No lie, it is a Friday, SDH AM, Freestyle Friday. John here, you there, and we are in a bit of a no-dilly, no-dally zone this morning because we got championships to talk about. We got MLS to talk about. We've got shootouts that really weren't shootouts to talk about yesterday. There was more missing than there was making, I think. We'll get into all that, all the AM news. Hour number 2, Tyler Terens, AppleTV Plus. He's calling Atlanta and Charlotte. He's going to join us. He's going to parachute in. We'll see if he's in an airport, if he's at home, or if he's in Atlanta. Then, 10:30, Niko Moreno joining us, Pulso Sports Sounder at heart. We'll take the tour of the rest of Major League Soccer and catch up with Niko and find out what he found out at the Providence and Swedish Bouncy House and Delicatessen yesterday in Seattle. So that's hour number 2. Hour number 1 starts off in Oklahoma. And for this, we go to someone who's already had his morning workout and a 12-hour bus ride. Juan Hernandez, head coach of Chattanooga FC's women, as you get ready for the Final Four in the WPSL. First off, how was the workout? Let's start there.
Oh, good morning, John. It was necessary. Let's say it that way. Want to wake up and be ready for this, but also to take that trip out of my legs. So it was a good workout.
Woo! I mean, I have a little birdie who told me it is a 12-hour bus journey yesterday from Chattanooga to someplace close to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Is this, in fact, the case, a 12-hour bus ride yesterday?
That is 100% correct, yes.
How do you, as a staff/coach, navigate this? So, and obviously having a day or so to kind of unwind the muscles and such, that helps out. But how do you navigate a 12-hour bus ride to make sure that the players are still, that the muscles are going to respond, all that kind of stuff? How do you make sure that the bus ride doesn't affect you longer than it should be just by just sitting in a chair?
No, 100, good question, of course. We obviously look at flying, we look at the bus ride, and the amount of hours between transfer, getting to the Atlanta airport and why not was going to be pretty similar, adding all the stresses of getting to a flight and having to go to a different flight. So we decided the bus ride this time was the better choice, and we just make sure to make enough stops that we could stretch our legs. We have our performance coach with us on the bus, so he was constantly guiding the athletes on what to do, when to do it. And then when we got here, we made sure to get a good training session as well to get those hours out of the legs and get some touches on the ball before today.
So you get into Oklahoma. What kind of weather are you anticipating? Is it going to be 7,000 degrees on a turf surface? What are you going to be staring at this weekend?
I believe the 7,000 degrees is correct. Thankfully we're playing in grass this time, and thankfully we are playing the second time slot this time. So the first game it's at 6. They'll have the worst weather. It kind of looks a little bit cloudy today, so we might be all lucky.
And so staring at it, St. Croix Legacy and Sporting Connecticut, or Sporting CT. I don't know if I could say Sporting KC or Sporting CT or Connecticut or the whole thing. They're the early ones, 7 o'clock, and that is tonight. If I'm reading, I need my glasses this early in the morning, staring down at the full screen. 7 o'clock tonight, Eastern time, St. Croix Legacy, Sporting CT, followed by around 9:15, Cal Storm and Chattanooga FC. You made it out of the South bracket. Let's take it a matchup at a time. Arlington Soccer Blue. What was the matchup like for those that didn't get the chance to see it?
It was what a playoff game looked like. A little bit chaotic, a little bit up and down. Everybody with a lot of intensity wanted to win it. 2 PKs to score the first 2 goals for both teams. So that was the game. And then at one point we were able to settle down and to put our foot into the ball and play our game. And that's when we started to take over. But to be honest, really good team, Arlington. And like I said, chaotic. Started too chaotic.
Then you have to do the quick turn. And we talked about it when you were on last time about trying to just navigate the idea of kind of focusing on yourself instead of focusing on the team. Well, yeah, you kind of know what you're getting into. How much studying did you get on Louisiana Crew? LA Crew is like, that's West. Louisiana Crew. How much studying did you get on them getting ready for this one, or was it just focus on yourself and navigate through that first 15 to 20 minutes?
No, it was both. It was both. So I stayed with along with assistant coach, as associate head coach Marine. We stay and watch the game, which was right after us on the same location. Then I woke up early morning, watched two of the other games just to see their tendencies. But that for me is just tools to tell our athletes, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and it is even more important than today we do this, this, and that. So yes, you have to focus on the opposition, but for me, I always transfer that into what we do good. How can we continue to do that, or how can we have to tweak certain things to be successful?
So what did you know going in? What did you have to tweak? What was the match like diving in?
Well, we needed to be secure in the back, in the sense of when we go forward, which we will want to be a team that goes forward and is vertical, that everybody had a mindset of like, yes, but we cannot leave their athletes by themselves, because they had really good forwards, and we were looking at watching the games, we definitely noticed that part. So we said, okay, we're gonna continue to do our thing, but we need to have a little bit of a mindset of let's have some security.
And so you had the security and you make it through, and it's a matchup against Cal Storm. So was it another late night keeping an eye on SoCal Union and Cal Storm? How did you study for this one? Or is it just like, yeah, okay, we're just going to meet in Stillwater and then I'm going to look at film and do whatever? How is it past navigating the West to get ready for Stillwater?
Well, thankfully, I had a couple more days to watch games, so there were no late nights, but there was indeed still a lot of watching. And similar concept, we want to do what we do, and we want to do it on the smartest and more effective way possible, knowing what they have. So again, for me, it's always about us and utilizing their strengths and their weaknesses to make sure we're as competitive as we can be.
So what have you seen in California Storm in the limited stuff that you watched outside of looking out for yourself? What have you seen in Cal Storm that you need to keep an eye on?
They're obviously they're good. They're a good team. They're reigning champs. They have a lot of athleticism. They're good on the ball. So they'll be a good. I think it's gonna be a really really good game. We are that type of team as well. So to be honest, today is about who does their thing better, and who is more composed, who's more secure, but it still does their thing better. Whoever is able to put their game in play, I think is the one that's gonna win.
So then, do you study the left-hand side of the bracket? Is one of you? Are you putting Hayes to work, having him look at St. Croix and Sporting CT? How are you studying the left-hand side of the bracket to prep for that?
So we have our sporting director that will be with us. So we'll be Sebastian will be helping us with that. And then the moment the game is over, we'll go to the computer and start watching those notes that Sebastian is gonna give us. So it will be like that, because they play before us. So today we will have to be focused on our team, and then once we're done with our game, early morning, look at the notes, watch film, prepare the team, play again.
You know, when you have a rapid fire situation like this, where literally it is match, maybe a little bit of studying, match, maybe a little bit of studying, match. I mean, how much of a challenge is that for a staff in a rapid fire playoff situation, to where we got to prepare for ourselves, but we got to study. We know we got to study at least a little bit. We got to have that information available to you. How much of a challenge is it for a staff to sit there and go train, play, study, train, play, study, have others studying, and trusting those others that they're writing down the right information to give to you, so you're as prepared as a staff to get ready for that next matchup?
To be honest, those for me are details. The challenge is to prepare the team, is to build the trust, is to get everybody on the same purpose to get to this point. Once you get to this point, you have to trust everything you're done to get here. You cannot change everything overnight. So the work that we've done that has been really intense, really specific, has been done to get us here. From this point forwards, to trusting who we are, believing in ourselves, and knowing that everything we're done to be here, we did it the right way, and that's why we're here. Like it is that like mentality of like, hey, we're good enough. We know what we're doing. Yes, we will need to adapt and adjust things, but we cannot change things. It's about adaptation, about adjusting more than changing. So again, it's all about trusting who we are. It's about playing with purpose and giving the athletes the freedom and the tools to express themselves in these big moments. At the end of the day, it's the athletes that, if we allow them to express themselves, they're the ones that are going to turn the game around.
Juan Hernandez, head coach, Chattanooga FC, hanging out with us. Final Four in the WPSL playoffs in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'm not going to say that you are actually in Stillwater, even though you may be, considering it's a college town. Somewhere close to a stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Juan Hernandez, head coach of Chattanooga FC, as he's getting ready for Cal Storm in the WPSL playoffs, right-hand side of the bracket. What have when you look at this year for CFC, if I had told you that we would be having this interview where you're in the national semifinals, you're in a hotel room somewhere close to OSU's campus and still close to Stillwater, Oklahoma, parts unknown. If I told you at the beginning of the year that we were going to have this conversation, what would you have told me then?
It would have been a mixed feeling of like, all right, well, if you say so, I believe it. But at the same time, I do believe it, right? It's balancing a little bit of like, hey, I trust myself, I trust my team, I trust what we built. That the goal was this, but do I knew that was gonna be hard? Yes. Do I knew it was gonna be challenging? Yes. Do I knew that anything can change in any play throughout the season, and maybe we're not here? Yes. But at the same time, we've done everything right to be here, and I have to believe that in my abilities to coach and to lead this group. I have to believe in Marin's abilities. I have to believe in everybody that's involved, and I do. And I give a lot of credit to everybody that's involved. I mean, Marin has done a tremendous work. Maho, the goalkeeper coaches, everybody that you mentioned last time. Like, it's not a one-person thing, and because we have built such a strong team, I think actually that's the strength of this group is how together this coaching staff is how together the athletes are, and we're here because of that. Because when things got hard and things could go the wrong way, we made it. But yes, if we had this conversation in the past, I would be like, it is possible. I believe we can do it, but it is always a big challenge, and it's always hard to get there.
With new staff, new coaches, new players, how long did it take for you to be comfortable that, okay, everything is together and it's the way that we wanted it to be? Was there an aha moment for you of like, yep, okay, everybody's got it, we're on the same page, we're rolling down the same road, everything's fine? Or is it still kind of finding tweaks along the way to get you to this point?
So there was, like in every situation, like in every teamwork, there's always ups and down moments throughout the season. We have our ups, we had our downs. I think the tweak moment when everybody said, "All right, we are that team, we're contenders," when we won the conference. That was for me the moment that I felt like everybody was like, all right, yes, we are that team. We are that team. And those extra little tensions that sometimes are there disappear. Everybody, that's when things are starting to click more. That's when I think also we start to play even better. So I do think that's probably the moment that everybody was like, we are here to win it all.
How cool has this season been?
Been really good, really good. For our first season for me as a head coach, it's been pretty amazing. I have learned a lot. I have grown a lot, and I have been able to give tools to those around me that I think has made us better as well. So that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about: is how can we grow as people, how can we help other people to grow, and we've done that throughout this journey.
What have you learned about yourself?
Sometimes I need to trust my gut feeling even more, even when I'm new to a head coach. Like, it's important that I know that I know what I know, and sometimes I also have learned that, hey, it's really good to listen and to take what others are giving you. So it is a little bit of both. Sometimes youth makes people doubt themselves too much when we know more than we know, when we think we know sometimes.
When you have a career as a player and then you convert to being a coach, there sometimes is that idea of, well, I did it as a player, I think I can translate what who I am to being a coach, and the players can learn from me. But at the same time, there might be that impatience of, well, I did it as a player, you guys can do it as players, that kind of a thing. How was there any kind of a difficulty for you to try and make sure that it's like not everybody's going to be you as a player that you're coaching as players, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, how difficult is it for you to just be a coach and not take who you were as a player, put that into being a coach, and hoping that the players and, thinking that the players are going to be who you were as a player as you're coaching them?
I don't want my players to be who I was as a player. I want them to be themselves. I want them to be the best versions of themselves, because that's my job as a coach. My job is allow my athletes to express themselves and to be the best they can be within my context, within my structure. My job is to give them a structure, to give them concepts, to give them ideas, but allow them to express themselves. That's who I wanted to be coached by as a player. So maybe that is the relation that you're looking for. I come from a family of high-level athletes, high-level coaches, and at the end of the day, that's the thing that has always resonated the most. Is my job is not to make them be me. My job is to make them be the best of them they can be. And a good coach can do that, and a good coach can implement their vision and their style and their tactics and all of that with their abilities and who they are as people and as athletes.
Are all the players diving into the breakfast bar this morning?
They will
hotel?
be, yes, they will be.
I didn't know if you were kind of letting them sleep in, hang loose. Just it's like, okay, here's where we need to see each other for the first time. What is the itinerary for today, by the way? Getting ready. Are you guys going to have some
So
study time?
that part goes hand in hand to what I just mentioned. I want them to obviously have a little bit of their flexibility in the mornings, but they have to be within a certain time. So breakfast, for example, is a little bit more on their own, because maybe I like to wake up, go for a workout, and then have my breakfast. But then somebody might like to sleep as much as they can and barely eat breakfast, right? But obviously nutrition is important. So we have our sports performance person here with us. So we give them a little bit more flexibility on the breakfast side. Then they'll go into a walk and a stretch with a performance coach. Then we have a team meeting with a lunch. Then we'll meet again. They have another type of meal to prepare for the game, and then we go into winning time.
There you go. 9:15 is the alleged start time tonight, Eastern time. Cal Storm, Chattanooga FC, as they wait to figure out if they're going to be playing St. Croix Legacy or Sporting CT before that at Oklahoma State tonight in the WPSL Final Four, the official bracket for the championship. Championship set for July 20, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Neil Patterson Stadium, Oklahoma State University. Thank you for joining us to bat leadoff here on a Friday after your workout and getting ready for one of the busier days and one of the more important days there in CFC women's history in the WPSL. Great to see you as always, Juan. Be safe and have a fantastic semifinal. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Thank you, John. Have a good day.
All right, that's Juan Hernandez. He's kind of a busy man, and he's and full shout out to everybody there at CFC and Hayes Creech, our friend, to make sure that all this stuff happens, and for Coach to be as accessible as he has been during this entire run in the WPSL. So it's like, hey, can he do the morning show? And and I'm sure he's like, man, do I have to get up out of the rack? He's like, do I have to do this again? Yes, you keep winning. That's what matters. You keep winning, you keep getting asked. So Juan Hernandez dropping by this morning, and they're getting ready for the semifinals tonight in the WPSL. So very, very cool that Coach got to drop by. He had his morning workout. He was getting hydrated in the green room before and after the interview. So it was very, very cool that they got to drop by. So once again, WPSL, WPSLsoccer.com, probably in the National Soccer Network on the YouTubes tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern, left-hand side of the bracket. Sporting CT made it out of the Niagara bracket in the East. St. Croix Legacy made it out of the Central bracket out of Oklahoma City, knocking off Oklahoma City FC in the regional final. So they've made it to the Final Four. And Cal Storm and Chattanooga. Cal Storm knocked off SoCal Union to get out of the West. Chattanooga FC over Arlington Soccer Blue, over Louisiana Crew Rush. They've made it out. And so that's your Final Four at WPSLsoccer.com, WPSL semifinals. And once again, thanks to Coach Hernandez for dropping by this morning as they get ready for hopefully a leisurely day. And, the fact that he did say it's 7,000 degrees, I'm not necessarily shocked that is the case in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Morning to David, Alex, and Abby. So it's Buckertoff. Good morning. So Buckertoff. Good morning to everybody. So here's the rundown. We had Coach jump in like literally off the top. And he wasn't supposed to be with us until like 9:15. But because he's a coach and he believes in being 10 minutes early, being on time, he was with us before we were on the air. So I got to catch up with him before we were on the air this morning. And so Juan Hernandez joined us, got that. He batted leadoff. And so that's where we are. Hour number 2, Tyler Terens, Niko Moreno, and we'll kind of navigate through the rest of the planet as we go here this morning and get you ready for the weekend in and around the world of soccer. Now, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. We'll get you into that this morning just so you can sit there and flip all the channels. And today it is more Euros, and I got to talk about the penalty kicks that happened yesterday. We'll get into that in a sec. Being in the Extra Laxa, the Polish League, Bokertov, thank you. BN is showing the Polish League. Lech Poznan and Krakow at 2:30. You can get all the BNs. You can get AFCON. Apparently, you can get a boatload of Europe now. All the leagues that you never knew that you wanted to watch, you can watch them on BNs. All the BNs. You get all the BNs. Nuestra Telesitio for the fans. Say, our buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV. He's got the weekend off because he's hanging out with his mom. So all of the leagues, all the championships, Sudamericana and Libertadores, all at BN. You can get that at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, and that gets you dialed up for all the leagues you didn't know you needed to watch and wanted to watch, but you can watch them right there. Helps them out, helps us out, and helps you out continuing to add leagues to your daily education and daily viewing habits. 1 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. It is Wellington and Wrexham in an international friendly. On the Deuce tonight, Detroit City and Pittsburgh. That is the USL Championship. That's at 7 o'clock. See if Bob Lilly wants to yell at anybody. The construction and the site for the new Detroit City football stadium, that continues to take shape, and you're having all of the negotiations and the navigations as they try and build their new barn that is not going to be in Hamtramck at Keyworth. And so we'll see how that continues to go. On the plus, 1:30, it is Bayer Leverkusen and Flamengo. And then League One at Union Omaha and Tormenta at 7 o'clock. Remember, Dominic Casciato last week became the head coach at Tampa Bay for the Rowdies. So we'll see how 7 o'clock tonight, Union Omaha, South Georgia, Tormenta, that's on the plus. Fox Soccer Plus, Canadian Premier League, Ottawa and Halifax, that's at 7 o'clock. And on the women's side, the quarters, Switzerland and Spain quarterfinals. This is one of the things, and I'll get into this too, that the quarterfinals are on sequential days. Sequential days, not like two double headers and such, or simultaneous times on 2 days. They wanted to do one quarterfinal a day for 4 days. And so then everybody catches back up on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it gets you ready for the Euro final. But you have quarterfinals on one quarterfinal a day for 4 straight days. That's just weird. FS2 has the Copa America Femenina, Uruguay and Peru at 5, Argentina, Chile at 8. Fox Deportes Mexican, you have the Liga MX Femenil, doubleheader, Tigres Necaxa at 9, Juarez and Puebla at 11. Canadian Northern Super League at 7:30, Toronto and Montreal. That's on the plus, just to let you know what's going on in and around the weekend outside of Major League Soccer. Polish Extra Klasa on BN bright and early on Saturday morning at 8:45. USL Championship on Big CBS, Rhode Island and Hartford. I'm guessing our buddy Michael Parkhurst is getting ready for that one. BN and Espanol simulcasting the Polish League. ESPN Deportes has a couple of friendlies. Fox Deportes Liga MX tomorrow night. Telemundo simulcasting Tigres and Juarez. 2-NA doubleheader, Leon Guadalajara and Atlas and Cruz Azul. There's news out of Cruz Azul that we can talk about this morning. Univision simulcasting what's on 2-NA. All the season passes, we'll go through all the juice boxes there. That's on, obviously, on Apple TV+. A couple of friendlies, once again, on the plus. All the action on USL Championship on the plus. Jägermeister Cup on the plus. League One on the plus, including Chattanooga, Spokane, Knoxville, and Westchester. Early matches on Saturday. Fox Soccer Plus Canadian Premier League, Liga MX. Golazo Network has late night USL Championship, Sacramento and Lexington. Paramount Plus Scottish League Cup 12:15, Sterling Albion and Hearts, USL Championship doubleheader on Paramount Plus there as well. Women's side, AFCON, so WAFCON, I think is what they call it, noon and 3 on BN. Big Fox has France and Germany at 3 o'clock. FS1 has Copa America Femenina at 8. Copa America Femenina on FS2 at 5. BN and Espanol is simulcasting WAFCON at noon and 3 tomorrow. And the Canadian Northern Super League, Calgary and Ottawa, is at 4 o'clock on the Plus. So that gets you through your Saturday as to what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. Abby with a public service once again. National Ice Cream Month. Nothing wrong with National Ice Cream Month. Absolutely nothing at all. Free Brewsters dished out by some Atlanta United legends. Supporters tailgate from 4 to 6 at Lot 17 as we get ready for the matchup coming up with the team coming down I-85. It was great to catch up with Will Pelagic yesterday wearing the Carolina Lightning in apostrophe jersey and wearing that. And so we kind of, with Jarrett, we went through the archive collection. Some of them are fantastic. Dallas, you can never go wrong. San Jose, you can never go wrong. Minnesota, I love the Minnesota Kicks homage with the Loons with for the third jersey on the archive side. Fantastic stuff there. So National Ice Cream Month. It's the 18th. Why didn't they tell us this like earlier? You're halfway through National Ice Cream Month on National Ice Cream Month. And so celebrated Lot 17, 4 to 6, Free Brewsters. Atlanta United legends will be dishing it out and probably hoarding it as they should. I mean, it's ice cream. I mean, man, you don't go wrong with ice cream. Okay, yesterday. Penalty kick shootouts in the Euros. Now, I swear it went forever, and it did, kind of. It was, and so here's what the Telegraph did. The Telegraph dissected, and Fiona Tomas dissected the penalty shootout. So 2-2 after 30 minutes of extra time goes to penalties. Alessia Russo in. Hannah Hampton saves Philippa Angeldal. It's spelled Angel Doll, but it's Angeldal, I think. So England 1-0 after 1. Lauren James, read by Jennifer Falk, still 1-0. Julia Zijodi Olme, 1-1. So 1-1 after 2. Beth Mead, saved by Falk, 1-1. Magdalena Eriksson, left foot, clips the bottom of the right-hand post, 1-1. Falk saves Alex Greenwood, 1-1. Natalie Bjorn, Sweden leads it 2-1. And so Sweden manager Peter Gerhardsson said the order of the PKs had been decided before the game started. Had a meeting, players asked us to make a list 1 to 11. Incredibly difficult decision. So Natalie Bjorn gets the best of Hampton, 2-1 Sweden. So then Chloe Kelly converts. Chloe Kelly kicked the winning penalty in the shootout against Nigeria, clocked at 110.79 kilometers per hour. So 88 is 55. So you're probably looking like 70. 2-2. So then Falk steps up to the spot, and she airmailed it. She'd already saved 3 straight England penalties, seemed to suggest it had been a last-minute decision to give her one of the spot kicks. Peter Gerhardsson, quote, asked if I could do it, and then I said, yes, I just thought I would take a few deep breaths and put it to the left, which I didn't do. It was effing crap. And then it was just about focusing on saving the next penalty. So 2-2 after 5. Grace Clinton saved by Falk. Hampton saved Sophia Jakobsen, tipping it onto the post. The keeper, who had suffered a bloody nose in an extra time collision, shook off the injury, having made several saves during the match. Hampton admitted afterwards she was desperate for her teammates to back up her saves. Quote, I was hoping that every single time I saved one, someone from our team would score just so we'd have a bit of a cushion. So still 2-2. Lucy Bronze just wound up and smashed it down the middle to make it 3-2. Smila Holmberg sent her shot high and wide, 3-2. Swedish pundits, according to the Telegraph, astonished that the 18-year-old had been entrusted with such an important moment. Lotta Skilin said on TV, my first thought is that you should not put that pressure on an 18-year-old. We had players such as Fridolina Rolfo, Madeleine Janagi, and Lena Hertig who could have stepped up. It feels very tough and unfair. So you had England miss 4 of 7. Sweden missed 5 of 7. Under Serena Wiegman, by the way, England won all 3 of their penalty shootouts. They've lost each of their previous 4. So just to go down the list. Russo make, James Mead Greenwood miss, Kelly make, Clinton miss, Bronze make. Sweden, Angel Dahl miss, Zigiotti make, Eriksson miss, Bjorn make, Falk Jakobsen Holmberg miss. You had 9 misses out of 14 penalties taken. 9 misses, 14 penalties taken. I'm not kidding. That was just crazy that you had all of those misses in such an important match yesterday. And so the quarters continue. It's like they're continuing forever. Individual days, you get 1 quarter a day. 4 days, you get $1. Okay, that's what the Euro decided, so that's where it is. There's a bunch of news overseas we'll get into. There's transfer stuff. The Mbumo transfer is finally looking like it's going to work. James Ducker, Telegraph, it looks like it's going to be £71 million. Agreed to in the protracted chase. United have agreed to pay Brentford an initial 65 in 4 installments, plus an additional $6 million in bonuses. Spurs and Newcastle also interested, but Mbumo made it clear he was only interested in joining United. He'd been in discussions with Brentford for more than 6 weeks. United had hoped to get a deal finalized in time for Mbumo to fly out to Chicago as they start their preseason tour of the U.S. He becomes the 3rd main summer signing after Mateus Cunha, who cost $62.5, and Diego Leon, a £6.5 million arrival from Cerro Porteño to take their spending to £140 million. Amorim also wants a striker after United missed out on Liam Delap, as well as other reinforcements. But success in recruiting a center forward, center midfielder, center back, and potentially a keeper will hinge heavily on their success in raising money through sales. Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Antony, and Malacia are all surplus. All 5 are only being permitted to train at Carrington after 5 o'clock. So the first team practices, and then once 5 o'clock hits, you go to Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Garnacho, Antony, and Terrell Malacia. You sit there and go, now your key card will work. Rashford, Sancho. So those 5, how does this work? Those 5, they're only being permitted to train at Carrington after 5 o'clock. So, if they want to show up, it's 4:55. I know. Is Nick Saban hanging out at the front door? Not letting them in till 5 o'clock? Is that how this works with them? You want to go get lunch at noon. Does your key card work? That screaming you're hearing is Drew Dickinson. Drew's going to start the 3Ds back up now that we're back in training and touring and such. But Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Antony, and Malacia, they're all surplus, and you're only being permitted to train at Carrington after 5 o'clock. How does that play? Legit. I'd love to know. How does that work? You're not allowed to be here yet. Everybody else is training. You can't say hi. Can you say hi? Can you stick your hand through? Can you stick your head through the chain link fencing? Sit there and go, hi. Additional time away from United when the squad returned from preseason. Start reporting back this week, but only after 5, once Amorim and the rest of their teammates have left and the main group sessions have ended. Y'all can't be here. You can be here, but you can't be here with everybody else. Literally, they are the definition of an unperson when it comes to Manchester United. Due to report to the training ground this week when United are in Stockholm to play Leeds on Strawberry Arena on Saturday afternoon. United's opening bid of 45 plus 10 for Mbumo was dismissed. 55 and 7.5 also knocked back. And then you had a month-long discussion. And so Mbumo had 20-7 for Brentford last season. I don't quite think he'll get there this year. Looking at other headlines, by the way, we mentioned John Texter. We mentioned Sheffield Wednesday. We mentioned what's going on with them and their crises. Add this. The Hillsborough stand has been deemed unsafe as top players are leaving. The north stand of the stadium is being closed for the start of the year. Safety concerns and 2 senior players have exited. First-team players training at the National Football Center. Those training facilities were not ready for the preseason, so they weren't ready. And then you're spending money to go train at the National Football Center. So money you don't have, you're having to use, I imagine. I don't think the national team is sitting there saying, yeah, come on over. We'll use it in odd hours. Yeah, we don't have a U21 practice, so go ahead and use it between like 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday, you can only have it from 8:30 to 9. Concerns over the north stand, and so you're having to pay to practice someplace else after you didn't fix your stadium, and it's not ready for everyone to be in it to begin the season. Sheffield City Council warned they may not be able to approve a safety certificate for the stand to be used by fans with extensive corrosion found in the roof. BBC reports minutes from the council's safety advisory group in June highlight the problem, need the work done before fans are allowed in. They also requested an away game for the opening match of the championship season, granted, as Wednesday traveled to Leicester on August 10th. Wednesday have been warned the authority will not be, quote, in a position to approve the continuance of the existing general safety certificate, end quote. So basically, the dude that comes in, like for those of us that wander into elevators and we go into office buildings and stuff, and you see either the certificate approved by the elevator guy or it says certificate on file, that isn't going to be that's not going to be at Hillsborough. Until the works are completed, according to the minutes of the meeting. Added that there was currently no professional reassurance as to the safety of the north stand structure. Josh Windass, we talked about him in Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. Left by mutual consent, top scorer for Wednesday last year in the championship, along with Michael Smith. Players left want clarity over Danny Roll will continue as manager. Dafon Chansiri, and once again, this is why we're chasing Kieran McGuire, and hopefully we can have him on Tuesday. Marty Jellamy is going to join us on Tuesday, by the way, as they've come back from Toronto. We'll talk about that international trip. We'll talk about All-Star, which was next week, and we'll discuss Genuine Cup, which follow them on the social medias, and you can find out what's going on. But Atlanta United Unified starts off their program against Ajax in Houston at the end of the month. Dafon Chansiri, players and staff not paid wages on time. Color me shocked. Roll was in talks over leaving the club before returning for preseason training. Still unclear whether he'll take charge of the team next year. You got 3 weeks. 8 minus 30 days says September, April, June, and November. 23 days. Club confirmed they'll be without Windass and Smith. So without your top 2 scorers. Windass scored 13, Smith scored 8. Josh Windass posted on social. Wednesday's first home game scheduled for August 16th against Stoke. According to the safety advisory, minutes works could be potentially continuing during the season in between fixtures. That's not good. Did you see this? Sylvan Ebanks Blake is suing his surgeon for over £7 million. Caused the premature end to his Premier League career when, in addition to fixing a leg break in 2013, performed an allegedly unnecessary and destructive operation on his ankle. Client was left unable to play football at all without relying on steroid injections. Played youth football for Manchester United, went to Wolves, scored 64 and 193 in 6 seasons. After a leg fracture at the end of 12-13, spent the rest of his career at lower and non-league clubs, eventually retired after suffering another injury while playing for Walsall Wood in 1920. Suing for the loss of a Premier League career at the age of 27, which his barrister says he blames on the ankle surgery performed for no reasonable justification. Lawyers for Professor Calder confirmed outside court that Ebanks Blake values his claim provisionally at over £7 million. The time of the operation, average annual salary for a top-flight footballer was 1.6. During the operation to fix the bone, doctors also performed a keyhole surgery in his ankle, which removed cartilage and performed a microfracture procedure in the underlying bone aimed at provoking new fibrocartilage growth. Lawyers say the operation resulted in stiffness, reduction of movement in the left ankle, called the procedure destructive. Added that while Mr. Ebanks Blank was advised to have the procedure, he was at the time suffering no symptoms, would not have had consented if he knew the significant risk of long-term effects. So keep an eye on that one. Jerry Barton apparently is going to pay £200,000 of Jeremy Vine's legal cost in a libel battle. Clock's ticking on Jack Grealish's move as he returns to Manchester City to train by himself. Let's see. So that's early headlines out of the Telegraph this morning. Let's get you into the gossip, rumor, and innuendo stuff. Once again, hopping on with us at the top of the hour, Tyler Terens starts our MLS discussion. Tyler and Kendra St. Aubin are going to be calling the matchup with Atlanta United and Charlotte coming down I-85 to discuss things this weekend on a very, very busy Saturday. We're going to talk to Tyler about a couple of things because he was a very, very busy man when it came to this summer of soccer. And we got to see him with Gold Cup. We'll talk about that, talk about all the things. And apparently someone named Breland is going to be performing the national anthem at the All-Star game. I don't know this individual. I'm sure a lot of you do. And there's going to be a really cool All-Star auction. Autographed MLS, Liga MX All-Star jerseys, proceeds going directly to relief efforts in Texas. That's very, very cool. But it was announced that Breland is going to be doing the national anthem at the All-Star game on the 23rd. So 5 days' time at Q2, Breland is going to be performing the national anthem. If someone could steer me his way with what he does, then that would be cool. Yes, Dell, great to see you, by the way. It was great to see Dell in the midweek. Met Maddie in the tunnel, acted like she didn't know. Who are you? Who are you people? Exactly. Morning Forecard, morning Abby. Yes, and Alex, you are probably, this is probably true. The 5 Manchester United players that can't play reindeer games with everybody else, they have to dribble around the orange peels left by the academy kids. And it wouldn't surprise me if those 5 had to pick them up. Your key card works after 5 o'clock, and if there's anything on the practice field, you got to pick it up and put it in the garbage. You got to pick up all the orange peels, all the banana skins and everything. You got to put all that stuff away. Put it in the compost pile. And so first team training probably ends after lunch. Don't seem to even want them in the building at the same time. That's probably true. It's like, nah, it's we're good. We're good. You don't have to be here, but you have to be here, but you don't have to be here. All right. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, breaking everything down. Who's going where? We talked about Brian and Bumo already. Johan Vissa's preference is to follow Thomas Frank to Spurs, despite Newcastle showing an interest. Everton submitted a bid for Douglas Luiz from Juve, Aston Villa, West Ham, also interested. Arsenal closing in on the Victor Gyökeres deal, Gunners penciling in a medical for the 27-year-old. Arsenal made a move for Portuguese midfielder João Palhinha, unable to make a deal with Bayern Munich. Wolves have agreed to sign Jean Arias from Fluminense. Nottingham Forest actively working to persuade England midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White to commit to his long-term future to the club amid growing interest from Spurs. Leeds in talks over signing Feyenoord's Brazilian winger Igor Paixão. West Ham in talks to bring in Kyle Walker-Peters, who's a free agent after leaving Southampton, pulled out of a move to Besiktas. Inter Milan proposed a deal to take Ademola Lookman on loan with a £34.6 million obligation to buy, but Atalanta not keen on those terms. They want 43.2. So they want another 20%. Luton set to sign Josh Keeley from Spurs after he failed to agree to a new contract. Arsenal have agreed to a fee around £200,000. We talked about this yesterday, but we now know the number. £200,000 with Salford City for signing Will Wright in an effort to beat Liverpool to the signing, 4-letter paper. Brighton's Evan Ferguson is in talks to join Roma. Fabrizio Romano. Newcastle considering approach to Juve for Italian defender Nicolo Savona. Also keen on his 21-year-old compatriot Giorgio Scalvini of Atalanta and Cesar Tarrega of Valencia. Liverpool have held preliminary talks with Real Madrid for Rodrigo, 24-year-old, considered a potential replacement for Luis Diaz if they decide to sell him this summer. It is AC Milan interested in Rasmus Højlund, exploring the conditions of a deal. West Ham are the latest club to contact on Jack Grealish. Everton also keen on a loan deal there. That's from our buddy Ben Jacobs. Sunderland and Bournemouth both had £23 million bids rejected for Lille defender Bafode Diakite, with the club demanding a fee in the region of $34 million. Wrexham preparing a bid for George Thomason from Bolton for about 1.2. Blackpool keen on Nottingham Forest forward Dale Taylor, impressed on a loan at Wigan last year, Northern Ireland International. So that is some of the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that is running through all of our veins this morning and everything as we get ready for all of the activity overseas. Let's see what else is on Ben Jacobs' mind this morning. And it is Liverpool optimistic in reaching an agreement over Hugo Ekitike. Spurs registered an interest in Bournemouth's Ilya Zabarnyi. PSG remain keen. Bournemouth demanding a significant fee under no pressure to sell. That's Alex Crook. And then we mentioned the Mbumo deal, the 4 installments, potential of 6 in add-ons. Mbumo remained respectful to Brentford, according to Ben Jacobs, throughout, but indicated several times he did want the move. Alfie Gilchrist set to leave Chelsea. Multiple championship clubs interested. Saudi clubs have also made an approach. Good fit for Saudi Pro League officials. We mentioned the Will Wright deal. Antwerp keeper Sene Lammens is on Manchester United's radar. Some initial talks have already taken place this summer, interest dating back to January. We mentioned Kyle Walker-Peters. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang expected to decide on his next club in the coming days after leaving Al-Qadsiya. Marseille moving in fast. Al-Ettifaq have made an approach. Ettifaq paused their interest in Geraldo Becker at Real Sociedad until they hear whether Aubameyang wants to join. European interest, and folks are trying when it comes to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Also, let's once again keep touring the papers and see if there's anything else that is in and around this morning. Let's see. So there is the news on Mbumo. It's just that news. Come on now. There's got to be like other transfer stuff that we didn't hit. I mean, if there isn't, then that's fine. But come on now. It says transfer news. Oh, Snoop Dogg in Swansea City. Snoop Dogg bought a stake in Swansea City. So that will be, I wonder if they're going to come walking out to a gin and juice or something like that. I think that might be interesting. Guardian required reading. U.S. owners have taken over half of the Scottish Premiership. What's in it for them? Investment. What do you think is in it for them? Come on now. I've got to mention this. It's about a week old, but I'm still going to mention it anyway. Athletic Bilbao's Yeray Alvarez, provisionally suspended because of a failed doping test after the Europa League match against Manchester United. The defender saying he unintentionally ingested a banned substance in medicine used to treat hair loss. Beat 2-3-4. Alvarez said he tested positive after Bilbao's 3-0 home defeat in the semifinals. Spanish side lost a return leg 4-1. 30-year-old center back diagnosed with cancer in 2016. He'd been taking the medicine as part of his treatment for alopecia. Had a social media post, 3 paragraphs long. UEFA said it would not comment on the case until a final disciplinary decision had been made, and Bilbao are throwing their entire support around Alvarez. So that is one of the more ambitious / new what have yous. 11 minutes ago, West Brom officially signing George Campbell from CF Montreal. That had been going down for a couple of weeks. Officially official, George Campbell to West Brom. Very, very cool. Key starter. Great to see George Campbell's game continue to evolve, and now he's in West Brom in the championship. So that's officially official. Initial figures had that at about £1 million transfer, but we'll see if there's any other numbers that are released on that. So George Campbell goes from CF Montreal to West Brom, and the picture does exist. He's at the training ground, foot on football, wearing the jersey. So it's official. He's not doing this. Well, hang on. He's not doing this, but he is, in fact, repping West Brom. And unless he really just likes the Ideal Heating jersey, and is there, with trees in the background and stuff like that, it's official. It's somewhat officially official. RSL nearing a deal to sign Victor Olatunji from Sparta Prague. Fee around $2.5 million, likely to get the deal done without needing a DP spot. Olatunji 12-2 and just under 2,000 minutes this season across all comps. Josh Windass, we mentioned him earlier, so here's the loop around on that. Officially a free agent. Sheffield Wednesday trying to sign him. A lot of folks looking to sign him. Wrexham, Norwich, Leicester, Genoa, and Derby chasing after Windass. Colorado finalizing a deal to sign Colombia youth international winger Alexis Manyoma from Estudiantes. Cesar Luis Merlo with the info there. Manyoma likely to be added via U22, but we'll find out. Not finalizing a deal to sign Chidozie Awaziem away from Colorado. L'Equipe had that information. Awaziem wanted to go back to Europe. Family isn't in America. Colorado didn't stand in his way. There is a report floating out and around out there that Danny Pereira is about to leave Austin for Coventry City. Tommy Scoop says that is not true. Crew remain in negotiations with Al Ahly for forward Wissam Abu Ali. No agreement has been reached yet. Talks ongoing. Abu Ali had 3 goals in the Club World Cup, 6 caps for Palestine, and we saw him with Al Ahly. Whitecaps Academy standout Canada Youth International forward Tyler Brown, named MLS U16 MVP. 33 goals in the 24-25 season, named to the MLS Next All-Star Game. Columbus Crew's AZ Jackson on his way to Poland to sign for Jagiellonia Białystok. Put up a video of AZ at the airport, happy and grateful to join the club. So, Choinière, Rodrigo de Paul, and this name that you might have heard before, Yorgos Giacomakis. He is linked from Cruz Azul. Charlotte seems to be kicking the tires on him. But according to multiple sources, the first offer, and this was a loan deal by Charlotte to bring Gigi back from Cruz Azul into Major League Soccer. The first offer on the table, allegedly given by Charlotte to Cruz Azul, was unacceptable. I think the word was a little harsher than that, but basically the first offer was like, nope, that's not the way this works. Not the way that this lays out. But I would love to know, and I would love to know why there would be even the most remote interest. And there's also interest from Saudi clubs for Giacomakis from Cruz Azul. But the interest level of Yorgos Giacomakis to come back to Major League Soccer, considering at his Cruz Azul press conference, he basically ished all over Major League Soccer and said, and I'm paraphrasing to the best of my recollection, that he didn't like being in Major League Soccer because folks didn't mind losing. I think that's the quote. So let me see if I can find this quote before Tyler Terens joins us here in a couple of minutes. Giacomakis quote on MLS. Let me see if I can find that. I think the level here is higher. That's the bad thing. Yeah, that's the bad thing in MLS. It's okay to lose some games, and I hate it. I think the level here is higher, meaning Liga MX. And that's the bad thing in MLS. It's okay to lose some games, and I hate it. So then why would you be even remotely interested in going on loan to Charlotte FC, even if the terms were fine? Even if the terms were fine, why would Charlotte even be interested in Yorgos Giacomakis? You want that in your locker room? You want that kind of quote hovering over the second, even if the offer was acceptable. Even if the offer was acceptable on Yorgos Giacomakis. Giacomakis says that in his Liga MX presser when he signs with Cruz Azul, and Charlotte apparently is interested in having that individual come back in to be a part of the discussion. Just saying. I'm putting that out there. It is that time. It is hour number 2. And you want to talk about somebody who's been pretty damn busy? That's the adjective we'll use. Not pretty busy, but pretty damn busy. He has been. Tyler Terens comes back to hang out with us. Welcome back, my friend.
Oh, what's going? What was the Giakoumakis rant that he coming back into MLS after he slandered the good name?
Apparently, there is discussions of a loan of Giakoumakis out of Cruz Azul. Saudi clubs are kicking the tires allegedly, and allegedly Charlotte is kicking the tires on this. And the first offer that was given, Charlotte just wanted a loan deal. You know, they wanted to do the wimpy thing about, you know, gladly pay you Tuesday for a player today. We mentioned that with John Texter earlier this week too. So apparently the first offer for a loan deal of Giakoumakis to Charlotte, unacceptable. And it was something akin to that was the word. Why in the blue cement hell would Charlotte be interested in bringing that into their locker room, considering what he said when he signed with Cruz Azul?
I mean, number one, they've been trying to get rid of him for months. I mean, Angel Sepulveda was he was the Golden Boot winner in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and Giakoumakis was supposed to be the regularly started striker when he came in. But I don't know, man. I hear you, and sometimes I have those feelings too. I'm just like, you know that he might be bad news. Why would you do it? I mean, Charlotte are desperate at this point in time, unless you're going to rely on the 20-year-old Takamati to do it. But a loan deal for Giakoumakis, I think, puts a Band-Aid over what they need right now. Listen, they ain't winning any trophies this year. I think we can comfortably say that. Neither you or Charlotte are. I'm not walking into, you know, a playoff type of atmosphere at Mercedes-Benz on Saturday. But what I will say is that I do think that Giakoumakis solves a very temporary issue for them, and may create long-term problems. Who knows? But I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I just, you know, and I know that we do have a lot to discuss involving the team coming down 85, the instant rival of David Tepper. The second he walks in the door with Atlanta United. So since we started inadvertently discussing Charlotte and a loan deal and everything else, let's just go ahead and dive into this matchup. We had a bit of a revelation involving Big Pat when he signed with Derby County. Hey, he's going to have hernia surgery. He's been navigating a hernia since he's been this season. So he was navigating a hernia.
Honestly, that's a good thing given the way that he played a Gold Cup a little bit for me. Like, I'm not glad that he's hurt, but like it's a little encouraging to hear that he was playing hurt given some of the things that we saw. I'm still a big Pat Ajiman fan, and he continues to fly the flag for Division III soccer players everywhere, including myself.
Yes.
But I asked Dean Smith about that yesterday, and I was just like, Derby County, man. I was like, really, $8 million to go to like a group that probably could get relegated down to League One next year? I was just like, I don't. And Dean's on the same side that he's just like, I don't get it, and I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but it certainly hurts them in the near term. And Dean Smith obviously wants to keep his guy and keep a guy who is probably going to score 20 goals this season. But at the end of the day, like, you know, if you dangle the carrot of championship football in front of a guy who's playing for Eastern Connecticut State 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know, Johnny. Like, I think you and I are both taking that. But at the same time, you know, it's difficult to look at the full picture, look at the financial situation. I don't know what he's offered there in terms of like how much he's going to be paid a week. It could be exponentially more than what he's getting at Charlotte right now. And I have to imagine it's significantly more. But I think that probably has the most to do with it, unfortunately. Whereas I think that 6 more months here would have done him a world of good.
Yep, and we mentioned that George Campbell is going to West Brom, and I think that was $1 million deal before you came on. So George Campbell goes from CF Montreal, never to be impacted.
Montreal's is getting rid of all of their talented players. The very few that they have. I mean, what a disaster between them and DC United. I just wonder if this is the right situation for them, given ownership and the whole thing. It's really, really sad. Really sad.
Does DC United look like they're even interested? It's like they're like Kyle Busch and Marshawn Lynch. They're just here so they don't get fined.
Both. I feel like both teams are. I mean, CF Montreal have younger players that sort of like have and want something to prove. And to be fair, Montreal's had a really good track record of moving guys on over the past 4 or 5 years, going all the way back to like Ish Kone, right? Eventually getting his move over to Europe. People forget about him and how good he was under the 22 Wilfred Nancy group. But I think that DC are way more disinterested. By the way, Del Schaefer saying Terens we couldn't get Devin Kerr is incredible. Devin Kerr is on USL duty this weekend, Del. All right, you're stuck with me. Couldn't get Devin Kerr.
Well, Del is our resident viewer in Charleston, so he brings.
Oh, I'm aware of Del. All right, Del and I go all the way back on the tweeting machine back to 2017. I'm aware of Del.
Fantastic, and I got to meet Del in the midweek at Mercedes-Benz for the first time, so that was very cool.
There you go.
But yeah, they are no longer, meaning DC United, they are no longer Lassane in the membrane, and it's just like, wow, they want to show up. It's like, okay, so how long do we have to be here at the arena? So we show up at the arena. Okay, so we play 45, we play 90, we hop on the bus and go back home. Literally, it's like they're here to check into the hotel and they're checking out, and they want to make sure that the bed is made, that nothing happened, that the water in the fridge wasn't open, that they don't get charged for any of that stuff. Literally, it's just like they're showing up and they're leaving, man.
It's such a disappointment. And you know what I said? I was on the phone with Devin actually yesterday, and I said to him, I was like, I don't think Pep Guardiola could get that team to the playoffs. I really don't. And you know what? Like, I have a real problem with like grave injustices in life. Like they really like grind my gears. Like I like maybe in another life I'm an investigator.
Grind your gears, sir.
Jonathan, I think that in another life I am an investigative journalist. Like, I was the lead in All the President's Men or something like that.
You're Woodstein in another life?
Yes. Okay. And where I'm going with this is like, I look at Montreal and I look at DC and I'm like, something's got to, like, why doesn't ownership sell your team, make out like bandits, and get out?
Well, for Joey Saputo, it's a line item.
Sure, but like you're the laughing stock on this side of the pond.
I don't think he cares.
Well, from what I hear, he doesn't care about much. So
he likes to yell at his coaches.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with both of the clubs, and that's why I'm lumping them in together, because the coaches get fired like it's like they're getting dropped like bad habits, and nobody can do anything with either one of those rosters. I don't know why we're talking about DC or Montreal. I never agree to go on any of their podcasts. I never get asked to go on any of those. So I don't really care about. Let's talk about Atlanta United, because they're not going to they might piss me off just as much, but for different reasons.
Massively disappointing, obviously, in a bunch of different fronts. You and Kendra D. St. Aubin, yes?
Yes.
So y'all are coming down, and so you look like you are in the Casa de Terens at the moment. You have not yet left? You're not?
I have not yet left. I got my pickup soccer game at 6:30 in the morning this morning. I still am in the middle of doing some laundry because I haven't like finished up getting my life back together since Gold Cup, which was like 2.5 weeks ago at this point in time. So I probably should do that at some point in time. But
I mean, I do want to ask you about Gold Cup and call and all that stuff, considering that I had your grid and I was like, damn, okay, he's like busy. I do want to talk about that toward the end of things, but. Atlanta and Charlotte, I have heard that you will be on the call. You will be here on the call and hanging out with us. And the ice cream machine does work.
Thank God.
Yeah. So Carvel for all of us. And in the midweek, Atlanta, once for the fourth time this season, after 90 plus, resurrects either a point or 3 points. And this time it was Will Riley off of a corner from Alexei Miranchuk. Slam dunk off a couple of shoulders, off of one player, off of Efren Morales, and then slam dunk Will Riley gets to 2-2. I know that on a lot of different fronts, Atlanta United has been one of the more disappointing and thought bubble provoking and invoking storylines of this entire season. As you were in the study hall getting ready for this one, what sticks in your head?
Unfortunately, like it's only bad things, right? Like I look back at the games that I've done so far this year with Kendra, and we've done some really interesting ones with you guys.
Yeah,
we did, and we were on 2 out of those. We did NYC and we did Austin. We were on 2 out of the 4 that you were talking about, where you rescue a point or 3 past the 90-minute mark, because NYCFC was the comeback from 3-1, and then Austin was Tiare for the draw after Vasquez scored inside of the first, I don't know, whatever, 15, 20 minutes. But like what's sticking out to me while I'm thinking about this group is like how there's been virtually no improvement. And I, like probably most of you, when I'm thinking back to the back-to-back wins against Cincinnati and Orlando City, and I'm like, holy crap! All right, they're here. They like finally it's coming together. And then I go back and watch the tape of Chicago, and I'm like, you guys were lucky to come away with anything out of that game. And Brad stood on his head again. And unfortunately, like what I've seen from Atlanta so far this year, John, it's just like unfortunately, it's just a bad soccer team. Like I see missed passes. I see guys playing to the wrong foot. I see runners not being passed off. I see, guys not with the same ruthless nature that we've either seen them A in this league or B in other leagues. Guys with immense amount of quality that can't find it in North America. And it's really, really disappointing. But then I also see a willingness to fight. And I always tilted my head at the Ronnie Dyla assignment. However, whatever's gone on the field and whatever's transpired on the field, I don't think it has anything to do with him. If anything, I think whatever few moments of good that have happened this season have been a direct result of the buy-in that the guys have for him and the resolve that they have because of him. So I don't know where I'm at with this team. All I am is just disappointed. Like you said, it's been a huge talking point, but at this point in time, it's not even a talking point. It's just sort of like this is Atlanta United in 2025. This is sort of where they are.
One of the other things that we have been talking about a lot this season are the homegrowns and the younger players that have come up through the system that have been the players that have been shining. Unfortunately, a lot of folks that are 17s would like to probably send a nasty note to Hervé Renard or put his white dress shirts in with red towels and wash them in hot, because of what Saudi Arabia did in their invitation and taking out Jay Fortune in the matchup against Trinidad and Tobago. We don't have Jay Fortune, who has been one of the great tent poles this season for Atlanta United in the growth. So you've seen it with Efren Morales over the last couple of matches. You've seen it with Noah Cobb at the back. You've seen it with Matt Edwards in time. You've seen it with Jay Fortune in time. The Will Riley coming through and getting a cup of coffee, early season performance against Cincinnati where he was pressed into service and he gets the game tying goal last time out. The younger players and the homegrowns, they're like, yeah, man, let's go. And we're seeing a lot of that for folks that have, been following the academy and the twos and everything. They're like, yeah, we know about those kids. And now they're getting the chance to show that at the Major League Soccer level.
100%, and that's been great to see. But John, like I'm looking at the makeup of this roster, and I'm seeing all of these young kids come through, and I'm seeing the production that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I'm also looking at them like, well, why aren't they challenging for a top 4 spot? If you have young guys who are performing at a high level and that are getting an opportunity and seizing it, and you mix it in with Miguel Almiron, Latte Lot, Bartosz Slisz, Moranchuk, Saba, why isn't this working? I mean, how many coaches, Troy Lesane, Laurent Courtois, Robin Fraser, Chris Armas, even to a certain extent, would kill for the roster that you guys have and the makeup and the mixture of both veterans and young players and be like, I could do something with that. Now, whether or not they could, I have no idea. And again, I still don't think that this is like squarely on Ronnie Dyla, even the majority of it on him. But the young players have been really, really fun to watch. I mean, even the kid Chung Kui who played in the game against New York City FC, outside of the mistake that he made that led to the goal, I thought he was great on the day. And Kindred and I have looked at each other and we were like, that's kind of harsh that like he hasn't really sniffed the field since. But it's been really fun to watch those players. And I remember calling some of those guys when they were in USL, through 2019, 2020, whatever it might be. So yeah, one bright spot sure has been the young kids, but they should be the complement and the sprinkles on the Carvel ice cream we're going to have tomorrow night. They should not be the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about so far this season.
And offensively, Bart Slisz, I'd love to know how many miles he runs a match. I think it averages about 7. and I know that there's stats out there somewhere. If you could clone Bart Sleesh right now, everybody'd be like, give me 11, give me like 6 or 7 Bart Sleesh.
And the same thing was Jay Fortune, right? I mean, that was what everybody was like, Jay. I was on the call for that Jay Fortune injury against Saudi Arabia. And literally when my heart sank for Atlanta United fans, I was like, this has been one of the only kids that people have been excited about in Atlanta. And down he goes. And yeah, I listen, there's obviously talent on this team. And Bart, like, I don't, is that an actual nickname? Do people call him Bart, by the way?
Yeah. Bart Sleesh.
Or is it just you?
No, Bart Sleesh. Yeah, it's there.
By the way, what was the phrase that you used before? What in the blue cement hell? What does that mean? What is that?
Cruz Azul, the
Oh, that's clever. I thought it was some sort of thing down south that I hadn't heard of before.
Oh, yeah. No. I was just referencing.
No, that all makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, I mean, I know that a lot of folks probably need like a Nelson annotated after the show is over.
Well, no, I'm usually good at following it. And that's why I was like, blue cement. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
there's the E rating for the show on a
family show.
Never, sir.
Anyway,
but I think that Bart Sleesh running like 7 miles a match, and it literally in the matchup the last time out in the midweek, you look and you see him helping out at the back being a 6. You look and you see him racing up even with the edge of the 18, getting the hockey assist on the Moranchuk goal. And, he's ready to stick into a tackle. I went through all of his numbers in the post-mortem, and I'm like, yeah, he's my player of the match. And to have that kind of a guy out there, you want to have more of that. But to your point, offensively, I think that at least on the right-hand side, where you see Brooks, who wants to come up and engage in the play, and he wants to be either, the outside runner, if he wants to cut inside. Miggy and AM59, Alexei Miranchuk, they all seem to want to. They're occupying that same space within like 4 or 5 yards of each other, and they're easy to mark as a group because they're all crowded in there, and that creates issues since they can't get out of that jam and go for a big switch or something like that.
And so exactly what you're talking about, I think, is that's the one spot of this season so far where I'm asking questions of Ronnie Dyla with that, but at the same time asking questions of those three, because they're all good enough, Brooks Lennon included, in addition to the levels that both Miguel Almiron and Moranchuk have played at. And Brooks Lennon is, a borderline national team guy. Figure it out. I mean, like, remember that great Princeton team? I forget exactly who the coach was, and there was like a triangle and 2 that was happening on the.
Was it Pete? It was. Oh crap! I know. Keep talking.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they had 2 great players on that team, and this was like, in the days where an Ivy League team could make a run and be in the NCAA tournament, make a good run in that season. They were nationally ranked. They were great, and they had 2 studs on their team. And somebody rolled out a triangle and 2 on them. And I forget who the coach was, but he said to them, and he goes, Mitch Henderson, I think, was playing for that team, who, of course, has since been the coach or is the coach. I don't know. And the coach goes, you go to Princeton, figure it out.
Uh-huh.
Because they couldn't, they were stuck for, and that's sort of how I feel about those 3. It's like,
it was Pete Carroll, yeah.
Was it? No, Princeton basketball.
Yeah, Carril, Pete Carroll.
Oh, Pete Carroll. Okay. And I was like,
43-41 over UCLA.
Yes. And I'm like, why can't those 3 figure it out? Why? And that's why, like, if I'm gonna sit there and criticize Ronnie Dyla and be like, well, clearly, he's not rolling out a game plan, or like whatever they're trying to do in the attacking third isn't working. And I'm like, well, a lot of times, and this is why I sometimes get stuck trying to analyze film too much and maybe asking coaches questions about this stuff, is like, well, maybe he has figured out a game plan and it should work if these guys are buying in and doing what they're supposed to be doing, of which I don't know what that is, but those 3 should be good enough to the point where you're talking about, like, they're operating in the same space. They can't get out of the way. There's a log jam. This game is space, man. And those 3 are good enough to figure it out. So figure it out. Like, that's, again, like, more frustrating, just sort of like, because I see the same thing where it's just like, there's too much talent and too much. And I do think that their skills theoretically should complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but clearly that's not how it's gone down.
Yeah, I mean, Miranchuk being the point guard of all of this, his artistry and his touch, you sit there and you see, and you're like, damn, son. I mean, he'll pull some stuff, and you sit there and go, I don't know how that happened, but that we've seen from Miranchuk. And Miggy, Miggy on the right-hand side, where he wants to cut back on his favored left foot. And, maybe folks sit there and know from tour number 1, it's like, okay, we know he's going to cut back, so let's just kind of wall him off and make sure that he doesn't have that space to navigate toward the middle, to end up, passing it to somebody who's Saba or Latte Lot and coming through and working the middle and all those kinds of things. So, yeah, there have been a lot of questions, and Ronnie's tried some different formations and things like that. So we'll see what it looks like on a quick turn with 2 guys that played 90, 2 that played 71, and 2 that played 87. So I will be intrigued to see what it looks like with roster rotation. Charlotte, otherwise known as the Carolina Lightning in apostrophe with the archive jerseys. And by the way, the archive jerseys, Minnesota. I love the Kicks homage with the loons.
I got one over here. It's
dude.
It is. I just watched it. I got to dry it, but it is.
Oh.
It is so sick. This is honestly like one of the favorite things that I own now.
That is fantastic.
This is what you get when you're the voice of the Loons and you travel to Minnesota 20 times a year.
See?
This is so good. I love it.
That's fantastic. And then you can never go wrong with the San Diego Clash, with the San Jose Clash, and then the Dallas Burn. Those 3 to me were like
Seattle.
Oh, Seattle and the Orca, absolutely true.
Yes.
But the one mistake or the one omission was not having a Kansas City Wiz.
Oh, 100%.
Because, you can't have a Wiz without a burn, and so you have those kinds of opportunities available to you, and you miss out on that. Maybe that was intentional.
You can't have a Wiz without a burn. I thought this was supposed to be a family show.
Not on a Friday, brother. It's out of control. You know this. Charlotte, you never heard that joke? You've never heard that joke?
No.
That's an MLS joke.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nala doesn't like it.
Well, Nala's probably wanting to talk about the Premier League and what's going on over there. Charlotte comes in. We talked about them not having Big Pat. Pep BL, and if you pay attention to that Halo board, Nala just fired up about Pep BL. Well, maybe Nala wants to wear your Loons jersey.
Nala just don't get it twisted. Nala just wants to do one thing and one thing only, and that's play the FRISBEE. And I can't even say it because she will lose her mind.
Oh, wow. So Pep BL, ridiculous. I'm interested. We talked to Will Pelagic, the radio play-by-play voice for Charlotte. I'm intrigued about roster rotation in this group, considering that Tim Ream, I think, just celebrated his 704th birthday.
Be nice.
Well, dude, look,
he's going to be a starting center back in the World Cup. All right, be nice to him.
I know,
nice.
But you got to navigate, and you've got to make sure that he is there for you for the stretch run. 3 matches in 11 days. What do you do at the back? Is it Kerwin Vargas? Is it Tui Loma? What do you look at the back with the offense that's there? Toklamati taking over up top now that Big Pat is headed to Darby County. What are you staring at with the Carolina Lightning in apostrophe coming in this weekend?
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster stuff too, and I'm like, well, you don't have Nathan Byrne, so that's going to immediately peg you back a little bit on the right-hand side. You didn't play Andrew Privet, so you theoretically could slot him back in and go back to that pairing with Malanda and Privet, but then you're looking at Bill Tuiloma, who's been incredibly injury-prone over the past few years. And honestly, when he came over from Portland, like, he's one of my favorite center backs in the league when he's on his best day. He pings a great ball. He's physical. I like him a lot. But yeah, I think that's going to be something at least Kinder and I are gonna have to keep a real eye on in terms of like what that rotation looks like and how deep they are. Or more importantly, how deep they're not. The middle of the field for this group, and Dean Smith sort of alluded to the concept of like, we got to bring somebody in who's sort of like the replacement for Ashley Westwood, and we're like, yeah, like he's in the same boat as that. He's old, man. It's just it happens. It comes for everybody. So like. The great part about talking to Dean is like he's painfully honest with you, and I think that they're finding themselves in this transitional moment in the middle of the field. But up front, John, like again, they've stumbled into this sort of situation where I do think Toklamati's a really good player, but he's 20, he's a child. So like, can he take the reins? Probably not. Excuse me. Oh, I don't have a cough button on this thing. It's doing. As
long as it doesn't go into your lens, you're fine.
I tried to basically went on to Nala. So
Nala's gonna have you pay for
Nala got sneezed on, but she'll get.
She's looking at you like, bro, what are you doing?
Bro, you're not playing the F word with me, and you're sneezing on me. Like, could this day get any worse?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't rate this Charlotte group at all. I've seen them multiple times this year. I've watched them a lot. Like, I don't think they're in a position that you guys are in. I do think that they're a better team, and their results have certainly proven that over the course of the year. But for whatever reason, they can fall really flat on any given day, but they can also beat really good teams. So I'm still looking for a modicum of consistency from them, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they've got some really old guys like Tim Ream and Ashley Westwood, and then they've got some guys who aren't all that impressive, like Brant Bronico, God bless him, and I remember him from doing Chicago Fire days. But like, I'm sorry, John, but he's just not a starting six like in this league. He's just not. I mean, so but Pepiel and Abada and Wilfred Zaha is enough to make you sweat, and that's the bottom line for this group, is that if Pepiel can start playing like he did against DC, and I don't take anything away from anybody who plays DC. If you're beating Montreal or DC, Mazel Tov, you beat a USL championship team.
You're doing what you're supposed to.
I'm not impressed. But with that said, you guys drew them a couple weeks ago. So anyway, yeah, I like Dean Smith a lot. I do think that Charlotte's a great soccer town. I love the kits, but they need some work in the summer transfer window for sure.
They're a 65 that you can't dance to, basically.
Yeah, that's another Johnism. Yeah, there you go.
The Raider Record American Bandstand reference for you.
Sure. Yeah, that's well before my time. Probably my parents too.
I'm older than Tim Ream. All right, I'm like 717. So
put it this way, I'm only like 6 years younger than Tim Ream.
Yeah,
which is I guess I'm getting old at this point in time. But anyway,
before you get out of here, and so when's your flight?
I 2:30, 2:45.
Okay, that's not too bad. So
we're all right.
Yeah. So what are you doing for dinner?
Going to the Optimist with a colleague of mine, with my agent. I feel pretentious for saying that. It's like, what college do you go to? Oh, some small school in Cambridge, Massachusetts. All right, you go to Harvard. Anyway, we're going to the Optimist, which I hear is great. I'm very excited.
I'll take your word for it. You need to give me a scouting report when I see you tomorrow. Gold Cup craziness, where you were kind of busy. What are your takeaways from the Gold Cup now that I have you?
Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Like, I did Gold Cup twice for the World Feed for CONCACAF back at Vista, and just grinding. And, like with those World Feeds, you hear it on social media, but you never really know, like, is it going to a hotel in Jamaica? Is it in St. Lucia? Like, who knows where that call actually goes?
Going over here to the Big 55 or on one of my monitors. Who are you kidding?
Does it? Are you streaming it illegally because you don't want to pay for cable? Is that what's going on over there?
Of course.
Is it? Okay. I just need to double check. Anyway, to do it for Fox was like such a treat. And not only that, but like working with Warren Barton and Mo Adu was awesome. And they both call a very different game. And it was fun for my play-by-play brain to sort of like have to move back and forth between Mo, who's very traditional American, and Warren, who's like, I'm just sitting at the bar with my pal Warren having a couple of Guinnesses while we watch the game type thing. Like, and I love that vibe, and I love both of them and the ways that they call the game. But it was also really cool to be around Landon, be around Lexi, be around those guys, watch U.S. men's national team games with them in the green room, hear how they talk about the game, see that like they're just as big of fans as we are about it, if not more. They're yelling at the TV, they're yelling at players. Like, it's so much fun. But it was insanely busy. I mean, it was 8 games in 8 days, and I did all of my individual player prep beforehand in the 2 weeks leading up to it. But then I did all of my film watching and my major storylines the day of the game for the teams that I was calling. So it was just like, wake up, go to Beverly Hills Bagel or wherever I was, go get a bagel, come back, do work for 3 or 4 hours, get a workout in, go to the studio, repeat for 8 days straight. I just got into this great routine, even though I was in La La Land, and it was a blast. It was so, and then I wasn't even supposed to do a quarterfinal, and I get a text from my boss over there who was like, "Hey, can you make it back after your MLS duties on Saturday in Chicago to do Canada and Guatemala?" And I was like doing the math, and I was like, I think so. I landed at 10 a.m. Pacific after taking the first flight out of O'Hare. Dropped my stuff off at the hotel, took a shower so I didn't reek of United Airlines, went straight to the studio and called the game at 1 p.m. Pacific time after I just called Chicago Fire and Charlotte, believe it or not, 24 hours or 12 hours before. So it was a whirlwind, but it was amazing. And that Canada-Guatemala game, that has entered into the pantheon of games that I've called in terms of like one of my favorites. What a game, what an atmosphere, what a finish. And like, I am so far into rooting against Canada and rooting against Jesse Marsh at this point in time, so it was even better.
Well, and I texted you after that match, and I'm like, dude, you better save that tape.
It's a fun game, man. It was a fun game. I had such a blast. And it's just easy when the game is that good and there's that much on the line, and then all these storylines are coming about. And Schaffelberg sent off, and Canada was a favorite, and Guatemala, and these kids who were playing in Liga Nacional, and it was so much fun. It was really cool.
Yeah. One other thing, just make sure that you bring your wallet tomorrow to Mercedes-Benz. I don't know if you've seen the releases on the 280 character app, but there's a new gear line coming out tomorrow. It's a collaboration between MARTA and Atlanta United. You will go to the poorhouse. It is amazing.
Wait. You mean like MARTA, like the public transportation?
Yeah, it is an homage and a partnership with the public transportation here in town. Go on Atlanta United's Twitters and look at the presentation. You will go to the poorhouse. The boss came to me and she's like, "Oh, I like that shirt."
Wow.
So,
okay. All right. So I see the scarf.
yeah.
Oh, the hat is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying, right? I don't need to bring my wallet.
Well, I do, as if I remember to bring my ID, I do get akin to a discount, sir. So
You do?
Oh yeah.
I need to talk to somebody about a discount.
Yeah. So maybe
Wow.
maybe we can. Roy McIlroy shoots a 69, 3 in the clubhouse at 3 under par.
I had Bryson in my pool, and I had just what are we doing?
There's no forgiving space after the first cut, and you know how wayward
He's been one of the best golfers in the world for the past however many years. He can't figure it out. It is coming down.
Yes,
it is coming down right now.
Brian Harmon in the clubhouse with a 65. Please be safe, my friend, and get here safe. And by the way, Frisbee.
Hey, it's in the it don't. You just all you did was yell the F word in my ear. Good try. Good try. If we want to get it, this is Nala's current state.
There's Nala
looking at the room that it's located in.
She is so harumping at you right now. She's like, bruh.
Well, the boss is upstairs too, and she's ignoring her. So both parents are ignoring her at the moment.
I was wondering where your location was in comparison to the normal den that you have.
When she works from home, she gets the study that, believe it or not, is decked out in sports paraphernalia and looks like it's a sports broadcaster's study. And I'm like, why do you get this? But I don't ask those questions.
That's why the boss here is up on the 3rd floor and I'm down here in the office. Be safe, get here safe, enjoy the Optimist Club or wherever it is you're going. And then obviously, you know that we will see you all here tomorrow. Those not here in town will be watching on Apple TV. It's always great to have you come on Fridays. Like I said, you know where the garage door opener is. You look. I told folks. I said, look, Terens came on 3 times in a week.
I forgot about that.
You came on 3 times in a week. One because you came on the wrong day, and the boss got after you. It's like, dude, no, your appearance is supposed to be on X day, and you showed up a day early.
Well, I got the very formal invite. It was like, Tyler, are you available to show up on Soccer Down Here tomorrow at 10 a.m.? And I was just like, why isn't John texting me some sort of snarky Johnism right now and inviting me himself? Why am I getting this from the MLS PR
I'm going through official channels.
You don't need to do that with me.
Okay.
You don't. You can just text me. I'll come on. You know that. I'll come on whenever you want me to.
Cool. Well,
all right.
You know you have carte blanche when it comes to the show anyway.
I forgot about the link that I have, and I guess I was on 3 times in a week, and I just felt like the people needed a little less Tyler in their life. But now I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to overstay my welcome once more.
As you should. We will see you tomorrow, my friend. Be safe. Get down here, finish up your laundry, and make sure that you hang up the Loons jersey.
Oh, of course. So with the nicest hanger that I have in the house,
and it doesn't go in the dryer or anything like that.
No.
All right,
what's this, amateur hour? See you, buddy.
Bye.
Good talk. Ice cream on me.
Yes, there's Tyler. So Tyler is calling the match, and it's always good to catch up with Tyler. No lie, it's always great to catch up with him. And so he's going to go and throw the Frisbee, hopefully with Nala, and then that'll be cool. That was your breakdown of everything Major League Soccer with Tyler Terens. He said some things about Atlanta United that we have been, front and center to all season long. And so it is all out there for the weekend. I got to go and I got to grab the juice boxes really quickly before Niko Moreno joins us coming up here in a second, because we'll do a little bit of cliffhanger with him. We'll talk about Seattle. This time next week, we'll be talking about Seattle and Atlanta United, and so it'll be kind of a it'll be kind of a run with our friends from all over the place in making sure that the 3-match homestand is what it is. Atlanta right now still favored at a +117. Charlotte's number has gone down a little bit. Atlanta's has gone up to a +117 in the composite. Charlotte's has gone down to a +198. It was north of +200 at some points. Now it's back under +200. So it's a +198 for Charlotte as they head to Atlanta to take on Atlanta United. Your 90-minute draw is a +273. Derek, about Gigi. I'd love to see Charlotte sign him so he could be a locker room cancer for them. That'd be just dandy. Dell, when it comes to Dell is shocked that Ronnie still has a job. I think that the summer transfer window is going to be, I'll use the word interesting. It might be very, very crowded. There might be a lot to talk about. So Ronnie has tried different formations. He's tried different combinations. And so we'll see how things continue to grow and or evolve. But I think that the summer transfer window could be very, very interesting. And so that's very, very, that to me is one of the storylines coming up, is the transfer window coming up in 6 days' time. So it is that time where traditionally we have him on for the last half hour. And so since it is the last half hour, we're going to catch up with Niko Moreno. And Niko, I was telling folks, look at you all stylish and everything on a Friday morning. Check that out.
How you doing, boss? Good to be here. No mic today. Please forgive me. I am remote today, but excited to be on with you, of course. And I'm grateful that you allowed me to miss yesterday, come back today, and let's talk some soccer.
Well, no, I figured that you were at the Providence and Swedish Bouncy House in Delicatessen getting some work done. But so you're remote with us today.
Yes, I'm just not at the house. I was trying to make it to the office, but didn't. So making a quick stop here and making sure that I am on time, of course, for SDH. And a hello to our SDH family, of course.
No doubt. All right. So as things stand, if we just look at what happened in the midweek, I gotta ask. I gotta ask about our guy Nuhu, where Nuhu. There is a running gag that those of us that cover Major League Soccer have when it comes to Nuhu, and we call it the Nuhu hat trick. Traditionally, it's goal, assist, red card, could be goal or assist, some kind of goal-defining action, a massively hard tackle, and a card. So we ended up getting the Nuhu hat trick from a couple of different places, and then he kicks the ball into the stands, and then there's the still of him giving the folks with the cards and the whistles, telling them that they're number one, and he got an added bonus for all of that. Can you please break down what is going on with Nuhu and all of the salutes and everything? What in the wide world of sports happened there?
I am glad that you phrased it the way you phrased it, because I think that what I feel like it's a misconception and a misunderstanding, one that, I even brought up to Brian, is that what you just mentioned is what most people know about Nuhu. Great defender, but at any moment in time, there's going to be a red, there's going to be a bad decision, this, that, and the other. So when Brian talks about, maturity, and he's got to be more mature and he's got to get better, my question to him is it maturity or is this just new? And I think that's what it is. I mean, this season has been definitely, it's escalated, and I think that it also has been more noticed because Nuhu hasn't had a fantastic season. He struggled defensively. He struggled with, not getting at the end of certain passes. He just hasn't had an effective season to the way we're used to. Defensively, the Seattle Sounders haven't been as solid as they usually are. So I feel like that highlights some of these things. But what I want to conclude on is that I just think that this is new. Just like you in every sport have athletes that provide you a talent and a piece of the game that you need, and then you know that you take the good with the bad. Ron Artest, best perimeter defender in the NBA, right? You knew that there was some extra stuff was going to happen. Draymond Green, Terrell Owens. I mean, you have all these athletes that are great at what they do, but that you know that you got to take the good with the bad. And I also don't want to put it all on Nuhu. I think that the Seattle Sounders, and when Brian Smetzer talks about all these guys are like my kids, and I feel like that's very honest from him. Then you do got to figure out what is it that Brian Smetzer, as a dad, as a coach, has built in the culture of the club where Nuhu feels like he could do these sort of things. And then because he is such a good defender and he provides such a great component of the game. And to be honest, there isn't no one that has pushed Nuhu on that side to make him believe that he's not going to be able to be back in the game, that this is just what he is. So Brian Smetzer, within the way he's treated Nuhu over the years, because like you mentioned, this is not a thing of now or just recent. This has always been the case, but you've always treated him in a certain way because he's provided a specific component of the game. Now, I think that the reality is that because of the struggles he's had this season, are you providing less to the team with just as much liability? And I think that's where the scale is tilting, right? Before, you're providing a lot to the team. You're a top defender, you're a lockdown defender. We need you. There's no one else. So, we know that there's going to be issues. But now I feel like the scale is tilting, and that's where we really are.
So now he's out for the next couple of matches. And I was explaining to folks before you came in, next time you're on, you're going to be talking about Atlanta and Seattle, and that's going to be next Saturday. So pulling this game out of the blocks, it's a matchup at 20. So -20 minus 3 is 17. So a 540 kick. San Jose comes to town. You're a decided favorite at a -143. San Jose comes to town at a +319. I guess this is my subset B question about the health of Stephen Fry and where things are with him, Andrew Thomas, in the goalkeeper situation.
Yeah, we haven't quite gotten more on what's going on with Steph. We know that he's been around the facility. We know that he's gotten some testing done. So there was no availability yesterday at the clubhouse, bouncy house. And therefore we haven't got anything else on it. It is kind of late, and he hasn't practiced this week, so I'm pretty sure that he's not going to be available for San Jose moving forward. What does that look like? I'm hoping today to figure out whether there's been added components to the protocol because of prior history with concussions, because of the severity of the collision. So we'll ask Brian Smetzer, but I think Andrew Thomas has done a fine job. I think that in the last game against Columbus, maybe he's a little very rushed to get to Navajo, and he makes it easy for Navajo to just go down to contact, creates that PK. I think he struggles a little bit when it comes to how aggressive he is going out for the ball as well when it comes to aerial duels. And I think his distribution could be a little bit better. But I think he'll be fine just holding the fort for now. But I'm hoping that Stephen Fry will be available against Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. I know that from a fan perspective from Seattle and from a health perspective, a lot of folks are hoping that. We'll see how it proceeds over the next 7 days. Western Conference right now, after what happened in the midweek, San Diego, Toronto comes to town. Everybody's like, okay, so Toronto's north of +500. Sure, that should be good. 20th minute, you get a penalty kick, and then Toronto tries to duck out of town, and they do with full points. San Diego, Vancouver, Minnesota, they're all in that lead group. They're in the sprint group that's trying to get away from everybody else. LAFC, that looks like they're bringing in Matthew Choinière from Grasshoppers. That is a really below the radar, underrated, really cool pickup for LAFC. Aaron Long out for the rest of the season. So LAFC right now at 35, Seattle 34, Portland 33, and then that third group right now, Colorado at 30. They have a better goal difference by 1, but Austin has 2 matches in hand at 22. They're trying to figure out who's going to score goals with Brandon Vasquez out for the year, and they scored 2 last time out. So they're at 30. Austin's at the 8. San Jose's at the 9. RSL's at the 10. Houston's at the 11. 5 teams separated by 4 points. Kansas City and Cary Z right now. They're in that third or fourth group. Kansas City's at 23, Dallas at 22, All Caps at 18, LAG's at 15 at 3-14 and 6. So what happened in the midweek that sticks in your mind?
Seattle dropping points. They were up 3-0 at one point of this game. They were 2-0 at halftime. I think that Brian Smetzer is late on his substitutions. I think that just like at one point, I forget the name of the Red Sox head coach that leaves Pedro way too long in a playoff game against the Yankees, and he ends up biting him in the behind. I think Brian Smetzer waited way too long for Christian Roldan to show him that he was gassed. And I thought that midfield needed some changes, and it doesn't happen. You allow Colorado to get back in the game with 2 easy PKs, and you drop huge points. You should be ahead of LAFC right now. Now you're not. San Diego, back-to-back losses at home. It's rare to see them struggle the way they have. Iloski going back, it's something that I can't remember, or I can't think of a situation that's similar where you have a guy that is breaking records on goals and then you allow him to leave. Now, I don't know what maybe his salary demands were. I don't know, how things played out in the back end, but it is odd. And I do worry about San Diego figuring out how to replace that sort of effectivity and production. But I think the top 3 are going to be interesting for sure. Minnesota was another one that against LAFC. This time the rope-a-dope didn't work, right? You weren't able to get it done with set pieces. You weren't able to just limit Buanga and LAFC. Shoot, Buanga should have had a second goal there at the end to put LAFC up 2-0 in the 89th minute on a breakaway. So I think that Minnesota is one that has a lot to prove, and it's probably the one that at this moment in time looks like a pretender up there. But I haven't made up my mind yet. I think Ramsey's up to something with what he has going on, with what he has created. But we'll see if he holds on for the rest of the season.
Okay. And we've been getting into a discussion the last couple of days, and I need to get your feedback on it. Do you have, or have you burned a hole in your wallet yet for the archive collection and the Orca gear?
I have not yet. It's in my to-do list. I was hoping that maybe the club or somebody would send me one. After all this hard work that we do out here, but we'll see how it goes. I do like the Orca kit. I even like the Orca kicks. It's kind of a nice little 1-2 punch. But hopefully it's in my to-do list. The colors are nice. The retro 90s or beyond. Obviously, it's got that look. The look, of course, is beyond that for what it means for the club. But I like the colors. I really do. I will say that out of all the classic kits, the retro kits that came out, Columbus is my favorite. I really like that Columbus kit. Really nice.
Yeah. So I'd forgotten to mention, Tyler Terens was on before you, and we mentioned Minnesota because of the throwback to the Minnesota Kicks with the lettering with the loons. We mentioned Orca. You were right about the old hard hat kit with Columbus. San Jose going back to the clash with the lightning bolts of the odd colors, and then the Dallas Burn. You can never go wrong with the Dallas Burn kit, especially with the slight hoops. Those were like our top 5. But mentioning Columbus, that's a really good call when it comes to the archive collection. I will give you that one. Very, 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 very good choices. But yeah, I didn't know if you'd been able to see, because the Letterman jacket for me, being the gear guy, seeing the Letterman jacket with the orca, I'm like, man, come
Oh
on.
yeah, that's sexy. Yeah, that's definitely got some swag to it. I definitely dig that.
Mm-hmm. Eastern Conference in the midweek, it was Nashville over Crew, NYC over the Purple Team. Atlanta scored at 90+4 to get a point from Chicago. Charlotte knocks off DC. I think DC's just kind of here right now. It's like they punch the clock. They go from 9 to 5, and they're the one staring. Literally, they're the one in class. You know, at like 3:04. Like when we were growing up, and they're looking down at their desk, and it's like they might write something on a piece of paper. They look up and they're waiting for that bell at 3:05 to ring. They're just kind of sitting there and drawing and doodling. Bell rings at 3:05, and they're the first ones out the door. That's what I'm staring at DC. Cincinnati shutting out Messi and friends. I thought that was a surprise. Red Bulls putting 5 on the Revs. That just in bulk I thought was a surprise. And then Philly beating CF Montreal. Everybody should.
Yeah, Red Bulls was just the way it happened. I mean, this was another tale of two halves sort of situation where they're down 2-0 and then they just flipped the script completely. I think that the Red Bulls are definitely a team to watch for me when they are in thing and Chupamotin is going and their creative players get together in that end final third and they can be good defensively. And I think Coronel is a guy that maybe he had one that he wishes he had back, but I think he's a fantastic keeper from back to front. Man, that's a solid team specifically for playoffs. This is a New York Red Bulls team that for me just feels like a team that can definitely get some wins in the playoffs. And Philadelphia too. I think Philadelphia has been extremely interesting with Cornell and just the way he's got this Philadelphia team playing, grinding out wins, and now Baribo back after being, denied from the net for a long time between injuries and other more difficult situations to try to get back to the States. I mean, it's definitely a team to watch. But Cincinnati, man, look. Evander is so good, and for me, he's still my MVP right now. Dreyer, he's dried up a little bit, and Messi. I know Messi. I really do, and the fact that he has been so good, right? Last 5 games before this loss, multiple goals, 5 games winning streaks. But I think Evander, man, the way he's kind of put everything together this year. Kind of changing his own faith, betting on himself, moving to Cincinnati, even without Denke. Right now, Denke is out for some time because of the injury. Can he continue to make this his team? Can he continue to get braces? So that's going to be where I'm going to be looking out in terms of Cincinnati.
All right, let's play cliffhanger. We'll save Atlanta and Charlotte. Red Bulls and Messi and friends. The Juice Boxers have this one basically, they just threw a blanket over the whole thing, threw their hands up, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Margin of error, Red Bulls are a +150. Messi and friends are a +152 in the composite. Draws a +274. What happens here?
I'll go with the draw, but that is a difficult one for sure. I mean, I was just praising the Red Bulls, but in Miami tends not to have 2 bad games in a row, and I think that Miami had a very bad game against Cincinnati. However, I do feel like the Red Bulls could use some of those blueprints that we saw from a very disciplined and organized Cincinnati that kind of fixed their own mistakes after that Columbus debacle, and then they put it on the field. I feel like the New York Red Bulls could definitely do a lot of things to limit Lionel Messi. And when you have guys like Luis Suarez that just look like they're on their final legs and they have such a hard time not depending on Messi, and I've said it once, twice, 1,000 times, defensively that team is poor. I think that the Red Bulls, when it comes to transition moments, they could really hurt Inter Miami, but I do feel like they'll have enough to at least draw this game.
So what do you think about Rodrigo de Paul coming over from Atletico de Madrid to be a part of things with Messi and friends? I was kind of trying to piece this together in my head. They say it's a 15 million euro transfer fee. Sign him to a 4, and it's like a loan, and then the deal kicks in. So my guess is that he's a loan deal before they figure out if Suarez is coming back or not. I think they bought down Jordi Alba, so it does open up a DP space. They do have like they did have like $3 million in AM March 1st to play with. What do you think about how this might lay itself out?
I think they did a great job, and that's probably why it took so long to just figure out the way they were going to manage it this year and then how it was going to play out or stack up for the rest of the years. In terms of the signing, I'm not throwing a parade like most people are, where it feels like, you're bringing in the best next thing. I do have a lot of respect for Rodrigo De Paul. I think that he's a phenomenal player. I feel like he will bring some grit and soliditude to that midfield that at times with Busquets that's on his final wheels, with Segovia, with Kramaski, they just don't have that guy that's going to be able to beat out guys in duels, that's going to give you that extra strength. And I think that he does that both at the national team level and at the club level. Now, that's also a guy that, he's kind of earned this role as Messi's bodyguard when it comes to the Argentine national team. So that's always good for Messi. And I think this whole thing is surrounding Messi, right? Inter Miami feels like the window for Messi short, like they need a win now type of mentality. And it's a lot like, in NBA with LeBron James just gets to say, this is what I need, ownership. And the same thing with Miami. I am sure that he said, look, this is what I need to win. I need Rodrigo De Paul. We're going to figure it out. Let's get it done. And I think that's what happened. So it is about keeping Messi happy. It is about getting forward. But I think Rodrigo is a good player, very good player. I don't want to deny that. But do I think that he's that missing component that's just going to be this X factor that now Inter Miami is going to completely take over the league, and we're going to forget the fact that Cello can't defend, and Falcone is irregular, that Aviles makes a whole bunch of mistakes? I just don't see it. That fact that you don't have a 9, I mean, is Rodrigo De Paul going to be a guy that's going to give you more goals? Absolutely not. Is it Segovia? Is it Messi? Sure. But I just feel like there's just a lot more things missing for the Inter Miami team. So I'm just not as high as other people. I also don't have him as like one of the best acquisitions in MLS history. Some people are putting him up there with the best. I think it's very good, and it's good for MLS to get this sort of player at this specific age. But I just don't know if he's going to have the influence that other signings have had in the past.
Why don't we just go to 4 DPs? We're all kind of waiting. Jarrett mentioned this in our chat this week. He was, when Don Garber was in Charlotte, mentioning the All-Star game and giving it to them at B of A for next year. Literally, Don Garber should have just said, okay, yeah, we're going to 4 DPs. You've heard all this talk about all these things. Just go ahead and add the 4th DP, or take the reins, take the governor out of the golf cart, pull the golf tee out of the engine at the country club, open up the salary cap a little bit. Don't make it as restrictive as it is right now. Figure out what you want to do and go to that next step. I'm thinking you're going to 4 DPs sooner rather than later.
I think so too. And I think that that's a good medium because as someone that does like the salary cap space, because of things I've said in this show 1,000 of times, the necessity and the incentive that it gives clubs to provide young players a pipeline from their academies to actually play and be homegrown players for, all the teams, the way that it balances out the talent across the league. There's a lot of things that I like about the cap, but do I think that another DP would do the entire league some justice to the growth and development and current stage? Sure. I really do think that 4 DPs, and maybe instead of that 3-3, the young DPs or the U22s, maybe you could mix it up where no matter what, you get 4 DPs, you allow your owners that wish to use that money to bring in this type of player to do so, but at the same time, you continue to encourage the soccer modules and the development of players to be what ultimately helps and evens out the league from 1 to 10. You're not going to be a league that's a 1 to 3 type of league or a 1 to 2 like it is in France or like it is in Germany, right? So I think that there are things about the cap and the structure that MLS currently has that is innovative and that has worked for a very young league that is now a top 10 league in the world.
El Tráfico's this weekend. Is it going to be close?
I think it is. I think both teams have some question marks, and the LA Galaxy, despite them not being able to just get out of their own way, and despite the lack of results overall, I always feel like the LA Galaxy come up to play. They raise their level against a team like LAFC. Despite not getting the result against Austin, I thought that Pencil looked like the Pencil of old, was dangerous and incisive and pushing and moving. And LAFC, like I said, in their own way, they've had struggles. They've struggled against Minnesota. They've struggled with just getting on the end of scoring games. And I feel like if Greg Vanney is going to do something, he's going to tell LAFC, "You're going to beat me, but Buanga ain't going to do it. So I'm gonna take the services. I'm gonna disconnect Buanga from getting the ball, and then whoever else beats me will figure it out."
Portland hosting Minnesota United. Portland favored at a +150. Minnesota United at +171.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. Portland, they're another team that I feel like is on a slow decline. The underlying numbers have not quite been there for them. And once again, I think Minnesota, in the way they handle things, could really affect against Portland. I actually like Minnesota in this one. I really do. I like Minnesota. What are the numbers of Minnesota again?
Minnesota's a +171. They're the dog.
Yep. I actually like that. I think it's going to obviously be a low-scoring game. I really do. I don't think it'll get past maybe a couple of goals for Minnesota. I do feel like they're going to shut out Portland. So that's going to be an interesting one. And what LAFC, LAG, what's the compos on that one for the goals?
All right, hang on just a second. 2.5 for Portland. Minnesota United is a -157. So they think goals are going to get scored in that one. 3.5 is a +149. So it flips at 3 for Portland and Minnesota. They think goals are going to get scored there. I think that's strange. As I continue to work backward and see if things continue to respond. LAG, by the way, is a +422 as a straight pick. 2.5 a -194. 3.5 a +126. So they don't think a whole lot of goals are going to get scored in that one.
Wow, that's
4.5 is a +295.
I would take that 4.5, actually. I think that regardless of how this game goes, and once again, I do feel like it's going to be close. I think it will be competitive. I think both of these teams have enough to score plenty of goals. So I'm with that for sure. I do believe that the 4.5 would be a good one to take.
Okay, just north on the plus side. San Diego and Vancouver. The Whitecaps on the road at Snapdragon are a +275. Draws a +275. San Diego's a -112. So San Diego on the minus side. Vancouver a +275, and the draws a +275.
Yeah, I do like Vancouver in this one, despite how they kind of spiral out of control here recently. But San Diego has issues of their own. I feel like at times when Chucky and Dreyer can't see eye to eye, like they didn't see eye to eye at the end of that game, where I don't know what Chucky was thinking by taking that shot rather than passing it to Dreyer for a tap in. I feel like they would struggle. So yeah, no, I really do like those numbers there for Vancouver.
Atlanta, Charlotte. Atlanta favored at home at a +117. Charlotte's basically a +200.
Oh, that's a tough one again, man. Atlanta has been just so difficult to look at. I do feel like Charlotte is gaining some weight, and I feel like PBL little by little is kind of making this his team in many ways, more one ways than other. So I actually like Charlotte in this game against Atlanta. I hate to say it, but yeah, I think Charlotte might get the best out of Atlanta in this one.
All right, so what's the latest going on with Pulso Sports? Sounder at heart. Are you going to the Providence and Swedish delicatessen and 5-minute oil change today?
Yes, I definitely will be there. We got to try to figure out what's going on with some specific players, including, of course, Stephen Fry. The new Who topic probably will come up once again. Obviously, The Yammer was back, but he was limited, and he was huge for the Sounders. So there's a lot of things that we want to look at today. In terms of Sounder at Heart, of course, and Pulso Sports, you can find everything that we're going to find out today at Providence Swedish, at the YouTube page, of course, for Pulso Sports. We will be recording what we learned this week with Jeremiah Shan. We will probably talk about Colorado, talk about the upcoming game against San Jose. And then on Monday, of course, Lobby Scorchers kickoff with our Limo.
As always, my friend, great to see you. And do not be a stranger. Safe travels from the remote location. We will catch up with you next week where we get to talk about Atlanta and Seattle at Mercedes-Benz. Be safe. Have a good weekend. We'll catch up with you next time.
I'm excited, guys. We'll see you guys.
All right. Niko Moreno, Pulso Sports, and from Sounder at Heart. Got to give a shout out to Niko for hopping on from a remote location. He might have been trying to help out other folks get comfortable in their dorms out in the Palouse. So that might be what's going on. That might be going on there. Abby with a public service announcement. So Atlanta United supporters, Mint City gathering 7 to 9 at Wild Leap. I imagine that's the one downtown under the shadow of Mercedes-Benz. So 7 to 9 tonight. Mint City Collective, Atlanta United 17, 7 to 9 at Wild Leap. Very, very cool. And yes, Abby, increase the cap. I'm looking forward to increase the cap. If you're going to do that, if you're going to go to 40 Ps, increase the cap. So we'll see what happens there. As always, great to have all of you folks hang out with us. Remember, Atlanta United 2, Carolina Core, that's going to be on MLS. I think that's going to be on because we have to be at Mercedes-Benz. So we are having our friends at MLS Next Pro handle that one. Josh Tolley is going to be on the call. And that one is at, let's see, what time? So we got 3 matches tonight. Hunt City hosting Crew on Season Pass. Sporting Kansas City 2, North Texas on Season Pass at 8:30, 11 o'clock at Providence Park. Timbers 2 and Loons 2. Tomorrow, it is 3 matches in MLS Next Pro. Crown Legacy hosting Philadelphia Union 2 at Matthews on Season Pass. Chattanooga FC hosting Messi and Friends at Fort Finley. So our buddy Hayes Creech, who is in media relations in the major domo of communications for Chattanooga FC, I don't know if he's in Stillwater or if he is in Chattanooga, because remember, Chattanooga FC's women's team is in the national semifinals in Stillwater, Oklahoma, in the WPSL. That's tonight and on Sunday. Then Saturday, Chattanooga FC, the men's side, they're hosting Messi and Friends 2, 7 o'clock at Fort Finley. So maybe Hayes is on the private jet going back and forth from Chattanooga to Stillwater and back. Then Core and Atlanta United 2, that one's on MLS Season Pass and Apple TV. Like I said, Josh Tullard's on the call for that one. Caught up with Steve Cook and Caden Moore yesterday. And you'll hear those as a part of the Twos review that you'll hear later on in the weekend with Core and Atlanta United 2. That's a big matchup for folks that are trying to get into the playoff discussion in the Eastern Conference and MLS Next Pro. 2 teams trying to get in. A win either way could go a long way to help out either one of those clubs. Then on Sunday, everything on Season Pass, except for Real Monarchs and Los Verdos, Austin FC 2. Season Pass on Sunday, Revs 2 and OCB at 3 o'clock. Toronto FC 2, Chicago Fire 2 at 3 o'clock. Red Bulls 2 and NYCFC 2. So Hudson River MLS Next Pro style, 7 o'clock on Season Pass Sunday night. 9:30, MLSNextPro.com, Austin FC 2 at Real Monarchs at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman, Utah. 10 o'clock, Ventura County LAFC 2 on Season Pass. Tacoma Defiance is on MLSNextPro.com at Colorado Rapids 2 at the University of Denver Soccer Stadium. That's on Sunday night. So big matches in MLS Next Pro. We've got our ref assignments for the activity this weekend, and it is Atlanta United and Charlotte. Alan Chapman in the middle at 7:30. Jeffrey Greason, Jeffrey Schwartzel. So your ARs are brought to you. So your ARs are just Jeffries. Greason and Schwartzel. Benjamin Myers, your fourth. Your VAR, Caroline Chenard and Claudia Badea are upstairs. Crew and DC United. Katja Korolava's in the middle. Andrew Bigelow, Walt Heatherly, your ARs. Jair Marufo is your fourth. Daniel Redford, Joshua Patlak are upstairs. CF Montreal Chicago Fire, John Freeman, no relation, in the middle. Chris Elliott, Gianni Facchini, your ARs. Renzo Villanueva is your fourth. Kevin Terry Jr., Fabio Tovar are upstairs. Revs and the purple team, Lucas Zapala's in the middle. Jeremy Hansen, Nick Balser, your ARs. Ricardo Montero Araya is your fourth. JC Rivero, Tom Supple are upstairs. Red Bulls and Messi and friends, Victor Rivas in the middle for that one. That should be interesting when it comes to the number of fouls called. Corey Parker, Ben Pilgrim, your ARs. Thomas Snyder is your fourth. Sean Tahini, TJ Zablocki are upstairs. FC Dallas in all caps, Marcus de Oliveira is the man in the middle. Jeremy Kiso, Ian McKay, your ARs. Chris Penso is your fourth. Kevin Stott and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Houston, Philadelphia, Rosendo Mendoza, the man in the middle. Adam Winkowski, Megan Mullen, your ARs. Alyssa Pennington is your fourth. Elahio Aragin, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. Sporting in NYC, Timothy Ford in the middle. Matthew Nelson, Diego Blas, your ARs. Corbin Mays, your fourth. Jorge Gonzalez, Jeff Mushik are upstairs. Nashville and Toronto, Sergei Boyko. However, Brooke Mayo and Zach McWhorter, your ARs. Sergei Demyanchuk is your fourth. Ismail Elfath and Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. Seattle, San Jose, Drew Fisher is the man in the middle. Catherine Nesbitt, Chris Wadham are your ARs. Fotis Bazak is your fourth. Soren Stoichka, Robert Schaap are upstairs. RSL and FCC, Lorenzo Hernandez in the middle at America First. Cameron Blanchard, Justin Howard, your ARs. Atahan Yaya is your fourth. Michael Radchuk, Kevin Locke are upstairs. El Trafico, Guido Gonzalez Jr. is the man in the middle. Corey Richardson, Nick Uranga, Remy Touchant, your ARs in your fourth. JC Rivero and Tom Supple are upstairs. I like them having the same crews doing day-night doubleheaders. Portland, Minnesota, Ricardo Fierro's in the middle. Jose De Silva, Brian Marshall, your ARs. Adorai Monroy is your fourth. Sean Tahini, Joshua Patlak upstairs. San Diego, Vancouver, Alexis De Silva is in the middle. Kyle Atkins, Tyler Y. Rostick are your ARs. Trevor Wiseman is your fourth. Carol Ann Chenard and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. Those are your assignments for the folks in the middle on this weekend when it comes to the activity in Major League Soccer. We've got our announcing assignments for match day 26. Tyler and Kendra are doing Atlanta and Charlotte. Nate Bacady and Mike Grella pulled from Paramount Plus to do Columbus and D.C. Blake Price, Paul Dolan are doing Montreal and Chicago. Callum and Kalen are doing the Revs and Orlando. Kanji, Danny, and Michele Giannone are doing Red Bulls and Messi and Friends. Evan Weston, Ricky Lopez Espin doing FCD in all caps. Josh Eastern, Jamie Watson are doing Houston and Philly. Mark Followell, Warren Barton, Sporting and NYC. Chris Whittingham, Lloyd Sam, Nashville and Toronto. Rogo and Heath Pierce are doing Seattle, San Jose. Max and Dunny are doing RSL and FC Cincinnati, so Dunny gets a home game. Tony Husband, Taylor Twellman are doing El Trafico. Jake Zivin gets a home game to do Portland and Minnesota with Ross Smith. And Keith and Mo are doing San Diego and Vancouver. I imagine Keith is leaving right now so he can get from Los Angeles to San Diego in time for the late game on Saturday, San Diego and Vancouver. Once again, remember, it is Five Stripes Countdown with Maddie and Abe from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 6:30, 7:40 kick with Mike and Jason. And Abe and I will have your post-game report, and that will be on after the match, and it will be on after the match again next Saturday when Seattle comes to town. But once again, Atlanta United, and it is Atlanta United and the team coming down I-85 right now. Nothing's changed. Still Atlanta United at a plus 117. Charlotte's a plus 198. Your draw is a plus 273. Thanks to Niko Moreno. Thanks to Tyler Terens. Thanks to Juan Hernandez, the head coach of Chattanooga FC's women's team, as they're in the national semifinals later tonight in Stillwater, Oklahoma in the WPSL. And thanks to all of you folks for hanging out as you always do every single week here on SDH Downtown. Thank you, Abby. And the Wild Leap Downtown for Mint City Collective and the 17th tonight from dinner from 7 to 9. Once again, it'll be great to see everybody at Mercedes-Benz tomorrow. Don't forget, Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. Just make sure that it is in the hermetically sealed vats so it doesn't just like drip and spill all over everywhere and no one gets to enjoy them. We'll be enjoying all of our presences tomorrow. And yeah, I'm probably going to get the MARTA gear and burn a hole into my credit card. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with the MARTA gear and all the things at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We'll see you there tomorrow. And once again, since it is a Friday, it has been another fantastic week. Let me see if I can get all the guests that we've had. So Niko, Tyler Terens, Juan Hernandez, Nino Torres, Willie Davis from North Carolina Courage, Will Pelagic, play-by-play voice for Charlotte. Coach Davis is getting ready to travel to Provo, Utah for the USLW final going up against Utah United. Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes. Jessica Charman joining us. Lloyd Owers, the now head coach, in addition to technical director for the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. And it is Abe Gordon and Maddie Cruz as well. And we're still chasing guests. We're still chasing folks. And trust me, we are still trying to bring folks in with storylines that we are chasing in and around the world of soccer. We do know Marty Jellamy, the head coach of Atlanta United's Unified Team, is going to join us on Tuesday at 9:15 to break down everything that's gone on, all the travel, getting ready for Genuine Cup at the tail end of the month down at Rice University in Houston. So see all of you guys and all the 17s, all the Mint City, all the everybody that's going to be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. It's going to be a fun night. And obviously Atlanta United fans looking for 3 points as the place to get the chase to get into the playoffs continues there. Since it is a Friday, you know what that means as we try and end the show as we always do. And that means I have to scroll down all the way to the blanking bottom to play the whistle. For everybody here at SDH, for Jarrett, Nick, Maddie, Jason, me, I'm just John, Sophia, Caroline, all the folks. We'll see you out there. Play it safe, everybody. Mucho platial. It's the end of the week. That means we get to do this.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are ours, be